Transitioning from Albuquerque, New Mexico to Chicago, Brian Urlacher had to adjust to more than the pro game, but a pro's world, where dealing with the media is a whole different game, and one that has had Brian in a position he's pretty used to, on the defensive.
Well, that's an interesting relationship, you and the media.
Yeah, we've gone back and forth the last, 9 years, and I had my one-word answers there for a while. I thought I was going to show him. I was going to give him one-word answers and not talk to him. I'm going to talk to him, but just give him one word. And that was going to make him really mad. That didn't work out too good for me.
Yeah, exactly. I could have told you that one,
yeah. It's a love-hate relationship, but, they're great for our game.
At the lowest point, what was it that really set you off?
You know what pisses me off the worst is they put my family in the paper, or they'll put, like when I was going through all this drama with my son, they put a picture of my son on the front page of the paper. It's not his fault. He didn't do anything wrong, so don't put him on the paper. That really made me mad. I was pissed. It was disappointing. I don't want my kids' faces in the media. I'm out there enough. I don't need them out there. Their pictures out there, or people bothering them like they bother me. So, it was very disappointing.
What led to that disappointment was Brian's 2007 custody battle with then 2-year-old Kennedy's mother, who took the fight to the press, breaking a promise Brian made to his kids to never put them in the media. Even now, the pictures he gave us for this show do not show their faces. That incident, along with his divorce from the mother of his 2 daughters, made Brian more protective of his kids and more distrustful of the media.
It's hard enough anyone knows who's gone through a divorce or gone through custody issues.
Yeah.
It is some of the hardest things you'll ever go.
Yeah.
And you've gone through them both publicly.
Yep. But yeah. Well, my divorce wasn't that bad. My ex-wife was awesome. And we went our separate ways, but we had 2 daughters, and she was great. It wasn't in public. We handled it ourselves, and we're still good friends today. So that was great. The custody thing, that was a different story. That lasted, still going on now, but 2 years. In court fighting, and every little thing I think I did or was ran to the media and tried to make me look bad. But I should have known that. It's just the way it goes.
How hard is that, too, when you're trying to make it private, but you may be involved with somebody who knows the one way to get to you is to make it public?
You're right. Just got to be careful with what I do and say, I guess. No matter what I'm feeling or what I think about the situation, I just got to keep it to myself or try not to let her know how I'm feeling, I guess, because that's the worst thing I could have done, obviously, is say some things I said, and it gets back to the media. And then, of course, they love that stuff. It's dirt against me, so it works out good.
Would you be this wise if I was sitting here talking to a 23-year-old or 25-year-old Brian Urlacher, or would I come away thinking you're a different guy, do you think?
I was way different back then. I was indestructible back then. You couldn't stop me. I couldn't do anything wrong. But, I think I've grown up a little bit, obviously, with the things I went through in my career, personally, on the field, everything. Just gone through a whole bunch of different things, highs and lows.
Start with, personally, the biggest epiphany you've had that's changed you the most so far.
Personally? My kids. I think that changes everyone. I've got 3 beautiful kids. First and foremost, I'm a father. People probably don't realize that. I mean, football is what I do, but I'm a father, first and foremost, to my 3 kids. They mean the world to me, and I'll do anything for them.
Tell me about your kids.
My kids are great. I got Pamela, who's 8, Riley, who's 4, Kennedy, who's 4. And Pamela and Riley are girls, and Kenny is my son, and they're great. They all 3 very different kids. It's amazing to me because you think that they're gonna be like the first one. Not even close. They're all 3 so different, and they butt heads and they get along sometimes. And the girls boss me around, me and Kenny around, but that's okay. We deal with it. It's what you guys do, so we put up with it.
So which is the one that you got the phone call from yesterday, wondering about your temperament on the field?
It might have been yesterday, the day before. She called me and she goes, "Daddy." She goes, "I have a question for you." I said, "What's up, Pamela?" Or I said, "Babe, what's up, babe?" And she goes, "Do you, what was the word she used? Do you talk nasty when you're on the field?" I said, "Why are you asking me this question?" And she said, "Well, I was watching the game plan, and I think they talk nasty on the field." I said, "Yeah, we say some nasty stuff on the field." And she goes, "Well, why?" I said, "I don't know why." I said, "Maybe because we're just trying to get an edge on the other team." I said, "That's a good question. I don't know why we do it. And maybe it just keeps us into the game." And she said, "Well, what do you say?" I said, "I'm not telling you what I say. I'll tell you when you're older, when you can, when you actually know that I don't say the right things all the time."
And hopefully you won't be playing.
Yeah,
by
hopefully,
then.
yeah, hopefully I'll be done by then. But she's not dumb. She knows what's going on.
Are they huge football fans, or you're a fan on the field? Do they watch? Do they care?
Kennedy, yes. Kennedy watches the games. Like, I have a box at the games, and he'll go up to the glass rink and say, "Where's my dad? Where's my dad?" He's looking down and wearing my jersey. The girls get there. They're eating M&Ms. They're drawing me pictures. They're drawing stuff in the game. I look up there. I get my boxes right there so I can see them in the box. I can't see them half the time because they're in the back running around. And then the best part of the game was when after the game, when I come down out of the tunnel and they're running over to see me. And the girls are wearing their cheerleading outfits. Kennedy's got his jersey on, so it's really cool. But that's the best part of it. When they come, win or lose, they don't care. They don't even know half the time if we win or lose. But yeah, they just don't pay attention. But I think it's great though because they just, you know, I'm dad. I'm not a football player. I'm not this. I'm just their dad, which is great.
Coming up on VIZIO Profiles, Dad puts his fisherman's hat back on to recap an MVP day on the boat. Then the former Defensive Player of the Year tells us how much more he's got left on the field.